Well, this next story is about a frustration shared by builders and contractors alike. The price of lumber has gone up because of a COVID-induced shortage in supply, and that has raised the cost for everything from a new deck to a new house. Habitat for Humanity is also feeling the pinch. It's a charity that recruits volunteers to help build affordable homes for low-income families. It's currently building one row of townhomes and planning for another one. Adrian Schut is the director of construction for Habitat for Humanity here in Ottawa and joins us on the line this morning. Hello, Adrian.
Good morning, Robyn.
Can you give us some idea, how much has the price of lumber gone up since the pandemic started?
You know, I'd like to start this by saying I try not to look too far in the past, and all of a sudden those numbers are a long time ago, because it can be disheartening to look back that far, which is a remarkable thing to be saying. But if I were to look at something as simple as a 2x4, like you mentioned earlier, we've seen a price increase where we used to pay about $2.80 before the pandemic. We're now paying about almost $9 per piece of wood.
Wow.
So that individual piece has tripled since the beginning of the pandemic. More concerning than that is how volatile prices are on a daily basis. Even just since the middle of February, we've seen some sheet goods almost double in price, things like plywood.
And so what about, sorry to interrupt, Adrian, but what about availability? No. You talked about the price jump, but can you get your hands on 2x4s right now?
Most of the time. Mm-hmm. Certainly not all the time. There certainly have been some material shortages, and things like 2x4s and plywood haven't been affected quite as much for us as some other things, but we have certainly seen delays on a lot of construction materials.
So what does all of this mean for the projects you're working on?
The timelines on projects are not what they would have been pre-pandemic, and that's for a multitude of factors. Price and availability certainly first and foremost, but also how we build the homes is having to change amid the pandemic. So the current development we're building right now is in Waterridge Village. It's an 8-unit block of townhomes, and on this project we actually were hoping to have people in those homes right around now in the middle of May. And at this point, we had to push the start date back on this project by several months, and we're now hoping to have people in by this December.
And what about the families then who receive these homes? Will they have to pay more, or has your organization, has Habitat for Humanity had to fundraise more? Both are
true in most of these situations. We have to fundraise more because of the cost of the way that our homeowners pay for their homes is based on a fair market value. So not only do the costs go up for us with the increase in cost of materials, but the equally volatile house market does lead to our homeowners paying more down the road.
Can you give us a sense? I mean, we have done plenty of stories about Habitat for Humanity in the past, but, you know, for those who might be wondering about the importance of your charity for these families, give us a sense what it means to them to be able to move into a Habitat home.
The whole process with the Habitat home ownership is a really remarkable thing. We are able to provide for families an opportunity to move in and access some of the generational wealth that so many Canadian families have had for many years. It's an opportunity for them to have a place to call home that suits their needs. And the families that we serve are coming from often overcrowded situations or unsafe situations, and we're able to provide a home that not only meets their needs for their family on the day-to-day basis, but also helps them to build that generational wealth to pass down to their children, as so many Canadians have value from in the past.
So if prices stay high and volatile, as you say, what do you foresee as being the major consequence for families who rely on the housing?
Across the board, I think we will continue to see delays, unfortunately, in being able to provide homes. And I mean, this is not limited just to a small nonprofit like Habitat for Humanity in Ottawa. I mean, this is happening across the board for all developers, for profit and nonprofit as well. So we will see delays on delivery of these homes, which means that these families are going to be in unsatisfactory living conditions for a longer period of time. And it also, as prices continue to increase, with a limited amount of funds, we can only build so many homes. So we've done well recently about doing our best to continue to fundraise and adjust our budgets to ensure that we can complete what we've committed to building. But as we look forward to future projects, it's hard for us to be able to say we can absolutely build our next development in the time period that we have planned, because we have to be able to fundraise enough money to make that happen.
Adrian, thank you for your time early this morning. Good to talk to you.
Thank you, Robyn.
That's Adrian Schut, the Director of Construction for Habitat for Humanity here in Ottawa.